All right, hello everyone. This is CD Mangaka coming back with my final adjustment, if you will, to the Master Ninja Mode walkthrough for Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, and that is to Chapter 14, because this was one of two chapters that had an increase in enemy count. And if you remember how the original chapter played, you're already noticing that there's a lot more enemies. Before, this run down the castle was basically devoid of all enemies, and you didn't encounter anybody until you got to the very first save statue where the dogs ambushed you. But now Team Ninja has basically made it so that you get an onslaught of all of these demonic ninja, much like the original Ninja Gaiden 2 gave us, which means the save statue actually has a lot more of a sense and purpose to it. In addition to that, there's tons of opportunities to farm up essence here to make sure that you're able to afford all of the items that you need going into the end game, or finishing up the last couple of upgrades in case you didn't get all of your weapons upgraded by this point. So let's talk about it. My strategy for this initial fight is to use the Tonfa or the dual blades to get the enemy ninjas to spawn, funnel them in that chokehold, and then just obliterate them with ultimate technique. Sometimes enemies will fall down, as you can see. I delimbed a guy, he fell all the way down, and because he's slow walking, he's still like 10 minutes away from getting up to me, which is pretty funny. But yeah, if you can funnel everybody up into that chokehold so that you can just get them all concentrated, obliterate them with your ultimate techniques here. I think that the staff would work pretty well here as well. I would be a little wary of it though, at least going for the follow-up on the ultimate technique level 2, just because if it takes you off of the staircase and you fall down, you could potentially overlap a lot of the enemy spawns. So I probably wouldn't recommend the staff, although it could work, especially if you just need a strong level 1. I think the Tonfas are great. I think the dual swords are great. The Eclipse Scythe would work pretty well, but the problem is these blue incendiary ninjas don't die to a fully charged Eclipse Scythe ultimate technique. The red ninjas do. So you want to make sure you're killing everybody. So yeah, as you can see, clump them all up. You can even fight them right down here. You could kite back up the stairs if you need to. Just group up these ninjas, use the Tonfa UTs, use the dual blade UTs, and you're fine. The nice thing, too, is that because we have all these hordes of enemies, and we have the targets that are at the Spider Ninja fight after the second save statue, we can actually just go crazy with our Nimpo right here. If you kind of feel like, okay, I don't have any Nimpo, I got no good way of getting my momentum back, like a situation like here, for example, use your fully upgraded Blade Nimpo. It's going to kill everybody. You can use the essence however you need to. I see this blue essence. I think I meant to use it as an ultimate technique, but alas. Tonfa level 1 will kill a guy, delim another guy enough so I can set up an OT, get the next level 1 out. This is where the Tonfas are nice. If you lose your momentum, you're not able to get level 2 UTs off. The Tonfas will still kill ninjas. It will still delim ninjas. Whereas the dual blades level 1 ultimate technique will not do that. You need to get to level 2 to have the same power spike. Once you get through these fights, which is a little hard for me. I did this on chapter challenge mode, so I had none of my health items fully stocked, so I was just running with the bare minimum. In addition to that, you also see that I have the Blade of the Archfiend weapon, something that's only available at chapter 17. Just gives you access to one or two new combos, so really not a big deal. Another incendiary ninja fight right here that we got to get ourselves through. So we will fight our way through. I'm just sticking with the Tonfas because I'm only getting level 1s. I got a level 2 here. Getting these level 2 kills, and now this is a wave where it's pretty much, okay, I would love to absorb a lot of this yellow essence for the money. Delay it here, and here we go, right? Like this dual blades level 1 that I got, I was hoping to get a level 2. I did not, and so now I'm in a pretty sticky situation. They're coming at me, get a big Falcon Talons, I lost my momentum, drop a Blades Nimpo. If that ever happens to you, just kill these ninjas. You want to try and get through this fight. It is a bit of a gauntlet. After this, that's pretty much all that's different with this initial chapter, because now you get the swarm of dogs that were in here before. So it's a couple of very tricky ninja fights, but if you use the proper weapons with the right ultimate techniques and you just go crazy with your Nimpo, it should be a lot easier for you. It took me a few tries in this recording just because I had 1 herb and 1 grains of life to try and get through this with. I use Yarn in the Inferno here because even the dogs are kind of giving me a rough time. And I'm just like, I just want to get through this. You should be able to set up a level 1, level 2 ultimate technique, restock on whatever items that you need to here. Just from those fights alone, I got 21,000 essence. So take advantage of this fight. This fight will give you a lot more essence to help you make your end game financial woes a lot easier. So take advantage of these fights. We can turn this craziness into a strength for us. I'd also recommend taking on this last dog fight before you use a save statue. In fact, usually dogs jump you before you can access it. A couple of 360 staff UTs, you're fine. Save the statue. This is at the end of the mission, right before we fight the Tengu boss. This was the last increase in enemy count that I can recall seeing, and maybe I'm just gaslighting myself. But previously, once you clear through that initial fight and you run up this hill here, you basically immediately, I think, jumped into the Tengu boss fight. So the Tengu would spawn, he'd have some ads with him. But now you actually get a couple of enemies that show up right before it. At least I think this fight is a new fight. I could absolutely be tripping. I'm just going to include it here in the video anyway. Just to basically also summarize that throughout the rest of the mission, the enemy counts were pretty much exactly the same from what I could tell compared to the previous patch. And against like these particular fights here, you know, I'm trying to zero out the mage, using a Zuno drop to kill him with the Falcon Talons, switching to a weapon that has a better level 1 ultimate technique, but instead I just go with the dual blades. Falcon Talons works. By this point of the end game, with all these advanced hordes of enemies, this is where we go crazy with our healing items, and this is why we try to be stringent with it early on in the game so that we can get through these crazy fights and afford to do so by using a bunch of Nimbo, by using a bunch of items. Yeah, this horde of a fight, I feel like, even if there wasn't here before, it did not last this long. I finally get a little bit of momentum here. I killed those initial wave of guys with the ultimate technique, so I absorbed that essence for money, and then I try to use the essence from the following kills, which was just an Azuna drop or flying swallow, and then obliteration technique, using that less valuable essence to instead set up my ultimate techniques. So yeah, that's a couple of tips to get through this fight, and with that, the Master Ninja Mode walkthrough is officially complete. Sorry it is a little awkwardly set up, but with the patch that happened to it, there was only a couple sections of those levels worth covering to note the changes to them, and everything else pretty much plays out the same, because now we see here that the Black Spider Tengu comes up to fight us. I highly recommend, you can just kill the ninjas around him with some Nimpo. Because you should be able to farm up and get a lot of essence from that initial fight anyway. So it doesn't really make sense to try and optimize this fight when it's just, let's get through this fight before we get a huge gauntlet. I get kamikazed here. I live. But yeah, like, it's putting a strain on me here. Anyways, thank you all for checking out this video, for checking out the entire guide and leaving all your comments and support. And I'm happy that I've been able to help people get into this amazing action game series and learn how to get to a Master Ninja level with it. I'm Mangaka. I'll be seeing you in future videos, especially for Ninja Gaiden 4.